Hi there, my name's Ellie, I'm the project lead on Philly the Kid, and I'd like to say a big warm welcome to the first of our development diaries. Now, Philly the Kid is being made by a very small group of people, so one of the things we aim to show you in those diaries is the sort of challenges that a very small dev team might face and what solutions we can come up with to get around them. And in today's diary we're going to be trying out some techniques which might hopefully speed up the rigging and animation process for our characters. Now, for anyone who's unfamiliar with the idea of rigging, what rigging basically means is it's setting up a character so it's ready to animate. And this involves assigning a skeleton to a character model and telling each bone in that skeleton which part of the model it's going to affect when it moves. So in order to demonstrate this, we're going to need a character, so I'm just quickly going to build one. Now, because this is a test character and it's not going to be part of the final game, I'm not going to worry too much about topology. If this was a character we were going to actually use in the game, topology would be very important, and we'll probably go into more detail on that on a later video. But for now, it's more important that we get this guy up and running quickly so we can get just a general idea of how these characters are going to move. And one of the problems I'm trying to solve today is to do with our character's legs. What you'd often use for a two-legged character like this is a standard biped rig. This rig is designed to reflect human bone structure, so it's very useful for humanoid characters, and there's a number of advantages that come with using this kind of rig. One of these advantages is that a lot of stock animation data and motion capture software is designed for this kind of rig, and whilst ideally we want to have as much bespoke animation as possible for this game, having access to stock animation and motion capture is a good way to rapidly produce prototypes. So in effect we can get a character moving on the screen very quickly, and this gives us a good impression of what the game is going to look like, and it also frees us up to work on things like programming and level design. So once more of the actual gameplay is in place, we can come back later down the line and replace the stock animations with nice shiny bespoke animations. So the problem that we're having with the biped rig is that most of our characters are horses, and whilst they are standing on two legs like a human, their legs are designed to look more like the back legs of a horse. So their legs are essentially using a quadruped bone structure rather than a biped structure, and this causes a lot of problems when trying to use a biped rig. Now, I have a theory, and that is that when you look at the bone structure of a horse's leg and you compare it to a human leg, the way the bones fit together is more or less the same. The big difference is that a horse's knee is positioned higher up, sort of in the curved part of the leg, whilst a horse's foot is very elongated with the heel sort of up in the air and the toes on the ground. So an analogy of this would be like a human being standing on their tiptoes with their knees bent. So in theory, it may actually be possible to achieve the impression of quadruped-style movement by using a standard biped rig and altering how the leg bones affect certain parts of the leg. Now we're going to cheat a little bit by using mix mode to set up a rig automatically. With our in-game characters, we will be wanting to do a bit of tidying up when we get this automatic rig back, but it does do a pretty good job of doing a big chunk of the work for us. So here we have our character who is now rigged and moving around, and you can already see that these legs are looking pretty weird. They're not really moving in the right way. So what we'll do now is we'll download this rigged character and we'll bring it into 3ds Max. Now we're going to try adjusting the skin weights on the legs, and the skin weights are what we use to tell the bones which part of the model they affect. In 3ds Max this is colour coded, with warmer colours indicating that the bone is having a larger effect and cooler colours indicating a smaller effect. So what I'm going to do now is adjust the skin weights so that the foot bone is controlling the movement of everything from the hoof up to about halfway up the leg where it starts to curve. So now if we apply some stock animations to this character, you can see that the movement on the legs is much better than before. It's still not perfect, and ideally I need to do some more work on the skin weights, but it's giving us a reasonably good impression of quadruped leg movement, so that's really promising and could potentially save us a lot of time. I think that probably deserves a victory dance. Well, I think that's about it for this diary, so thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be keeping the page updated with more news of our progress, so stay tuned for more videos.